The best way to start learning manga is to copy your favorite manga. That's something that really caught my attention while reading the Shonen Jump Guide to Making Manga, which was written by the editorial department at Shonen Jump. In the first chapter, which is framed as a conversation between a new mangaka and an editor, the editor says, quote, "My next suggestion would be to copy by hand some of your favorite manga scenes. Not just the characters, but entire scenes. Across several pages or even a whole chapter. Be sure to include the paneling, the backgrounds, and even the word balloons." So that's what I'm going to do today. I've never really done something like this before. I've only ever attempted drawing my own manga page like once. So I'm not really totally sure what I should be looking out for. But I'm sure once I finish the page, something will stand out as a lesson. For this first study, I picked a set of pages from one of my favorite manga, Bleach. And funny enough, the scene I chose didn't even make it into the 1,000-Year Blood War anime. And it might be because of the fan service, but I'm not sure. What I do know is it's a huge travesty. And once I'm done with this study, I'll go back and kind of look at it panel by panel to kind of see what jumped out at me and what could be learned from it. So stick around. Okay, this is gonna be my little self-critique section. I at just to start off, I measured out the page to the safety lines on official deleter manga paper. So just to kind of get a real feel for it. I'm gonna save the expensive paper for the real deal one day. So I'm a little broke boy. So anyways, I chose this page specifically because it's mostly talking heads. There's 7 panels on it. Mostly talking head pages, no crazy action scenes, no crazy background scenes. Thought it was a good place to start. I'm gonna go through this panel by panel. So we got panel 1 right here. I don't have much bad things to say about this one. It was kind of right up my alley with kind of the full figure or just the full bust of a figure. The only issue I had is I don't think I did great on her expression. She looks kind of mousy. Like I don't know if it's the nose, the mouth, but it looks off. So other than that, I don't have much bad things to say about it. It turned out okay. The speech bubbles there look great. They look okay. I mean, they look like speech bubbles, and the lettering is bad because I just did it with my pen. Not much bad things to say about panel 1. Same with panel 2. It's a very simplistic scene. It's just Ichigo with a open mouth expression with a black background. One thing I do notice though is I left my penciling in. I tried to erase most of it. I do know that when you send paper to printing, I think it doesn't show the penciling, or is that blue line? I don't know. So I could go back and erase those though. So not anything I have to worry about right now though. Panel 2 looks okay. Looks great. No complaints. Panel 3 though. So I typically suck at side profile figures and drawings. I think that's the best part about this panel. Orihime looks fine. No complaints there. She looks great. What I have a problem with though is little Smeagol over here. That little thing's supposed to be Ichigo, and it looks like Ichigo, but the face looks weird. The expression is like WTF. And it's just like I feel like I'm trying to put too much detail on a small simplistic figure. It looks weird to me, but especially when I look at the expression, it looks freaky. So that's my biggest gripe with that panel. Another thing though is see this weird stuff up here, all these little dots. That's supposed to be screen tone. I don't have screen tone, and I'm not doing this digitally, so I can't add it after the fact. So I wonder if Tight Kubo did it digitally with like Photoshop or Manga Studio, because I know they have templates, or if he had like those really expensive sticker things, which aren't as expensive in Japan. You can't buy them here in America. At least I don't know where you would buy them. I do know you can buy them from Japan, and it's super expensive. But anyways, yeah, 2 gripes there. Expressions on little figures like that, simplistic expressions, and screen tones. I can't do screen tones, so I did it half-assed by hand, and it looks terrible. But we do got a win here, though. Panel 4, I think, is my star panel. If I could just frame this panel and not look at the rest of the page, I would be happy, because I think this panel turned out perfect. The sound effect right here looks great. It looks almost like it does in the panel, or in the actual manga page. Orihime looks great. I think there's plenty of detail. I have no qualms. I think it turned out perfect from my point of view, from my standards. But then we get to whatever the heck this is. Panel 5. Ichigo and Orihime's expression are terrible. Orihime looks like she has this weird extra jaw thing. It's like really comedic. Like, and then Ichigo looks like he's cracked out on like Pop Rocks or something. I don't know. their outfits, their bodies, they look okay, I think. Orihime's hair is a little out there, but besides the expressions, I think it's okay. And honestly, this thing over here I thought was a tree or something. That's Chad. I had no idea. I can't even tell it's Chad from knowing it's Chad. But this is like the first major panel where we had like speech bubbles, and they turned out okay. Another thing I kind of was curious about: do they do the speech bubbles by hand, or do they have like a template or something? Because I know they have like, you can download different speech bubbles and stuff and add them in there. I think they're done by hand, but I couldn't tell you. I'd have to ask the actual artist, and he don't have time for me. So let's see here. Panel 5, a disaster. So we'll move on to panel 6. I'd never want to see this panel again, but hey, it's a learning experience, right? Panel 6. Something I forgot to talk about with panel 4 and 5 is speed lines. I had no idea what I was doing with the speed lines. This, as you can see, they're just, you would think I just made a mistake and there's just a bunch of lines across the page. Panel 4, I did the speed lines and I actually like took my time and measured them out with the ruler and stuff. And then the next two panels, I was just like, ain't nobody got time for that, and I just kind of threw them in there, which I think is not a good mentality. They shouldn't just be an afterthought, because all these things like speed line, sound effects, screen tones, they're what make comics or manga, you know? Like, that's what they bring to the storytelling table, besides just words. So I think I need to treat them more better. The artwork, though, I think everything turned out okay, besides Ichigo's teeth right here. Oh, whoops. He looks like he has like horse teeth or something. Like those things are massive. So that's kind of my only gripe with this one is the teeth on the expression. More word bubbles with my really terrible writing, so I'm not sure if they do hand lettering or if they add them in after the fact. But I did it by hand and it looks terrible. So let's move to the final panel. When I was drawing this, I had no idea what was going on. Obviously it's Orihime in the picture, and she has these like weird squiggly eyes. I think it's meant to be very low detail and chaotic. The sound effect actually makes sense here. Wah. On panel 6, like, the sound effect was just, I had no idea what that meant. Obviously I'm using the English sound effects, and flip, 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 I have no idea what that means. Honestly, it sounds inappropriate to me, but you know, whatever. Japanese sound effects look cooler because they're cool symbols, you know, their writing actually looks cool. The speech bubble, this stuff, once again, was it done by hand or was it a template? I think it's done by hand. It's just, man, to have the patience to do that. Maybe it's like, maybe I have ADHD or something, because I started trying to draw that and it was like, holy crap. Let's get this out of the way. You know, it's kind of an afterthought thing. So I'd have to, you know, it's one of those things you'd have to ask the artist, do you do this by hand or do you do this digitally? Do you have templates, or do you use, what kind of inking do you use? Do you use like this pen or do you use that pen, you know? And one other thing with speech bubbles, sound effects and stuff, do they keep it in mind when they're doing the drawing? Like, I'm going to have a speech bubble here, so I'm not going to cover, you know, I'm going to have the, like this speech bubble right here. I drew this speech bubble before I even did the artwork. So I kind of drew Ichigo around the speech bubble. My question would probably be, did he draw Ichigo first and then add the speech bubble? Or does he keep in mind where he wants to put him? Or does he just find like an open spot and like, okay, that's a good spot to put it? Like on panel 1, Was this the best spot? So he's like, okay, I'm just gonna put the speech bubble over the artwork. Or was he like, I want to have the speech bubble there. We'll just draw around it, you know. That's another thing. I'd have to ask the artist. You know, I have no clue. So, my two main takeaways would be the detail on small figures. These figures in panel 5, panel 3, panel 6 as well. These small simplistic figures that aren't meant to be like works of art, you know? I mean, it's all a work of art. It's all contributes. But I feel like I was trying too hard with the expressions and it just looks uncanny. It just looks weird. Some of them turned out okay, and then some of them, like Ichigo, who's on crack. I think it's something that you'll just get better with time. So I'm just gonna keep at it. I'll keep it in mind. And then number 2, speech bubbles. What was the word for the screen tones? Speech bubbles, screen tones, sound effects, speed lines, like those things. Can you do them or can you do them traditionally? Can you do them by hand, or do I need to do those post production, as they say, with like Manga Studio? So yeah, those are my two main takeaways. I still have like 2 or 3 more pages of this scene that I want to do because I'm kind of miffed that it wasn't in the anime. For whatever reason, I know there's a little fan service in Bleach, so I don't think that's the reason why they didn't include it. Maybe they just had so much to cram in, and they're just like, nah, what can we cut? So I'm gonna continue with those, and so on the next page, hopefully there's a little more variation on panel types, and I'm gonna keep in mind the expressions. So, because I know there's gonna be smaller figures going forward, so I'm gonna keep that in mind to do better. So, I'm gonna get on to the next page. I think Yorichi's in it, so that'll be fun. And hopefully, I can find some more things to struggle with because that's how you learn. So, I just wanted to say thanks for watching, and I'm looking forward to the next page, and I hope you'll check it out. Peace out, guys.